This means that heaven is not primarily about our transportation somewhere else, right? Our soul's transportation. Instead, heaven is about transformation, okay? Not transportation, transformation. Because what heaven means is that time and that place in this world where the love of God becomes the only power animating the bodies that inhabit this place. Think about the Lord's Prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, right? Not wait for it. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Heaven means that place, that time in which the love of God is the only power at work animating all the relationships that are happening there. Heaven is not some location somewhere beyond, the Milky Way or wherever you might try to imagine it. Heaven is a way of being that is inspired and animated only by the love of God, rather than these evil powers and principalities that mean to do life so much harm. So the question is, what are we doing to make this world a welcoming place for the love of God? What are we doing in our neighborhoods? What are we doing in our agricultural spaces? What are we doing, right, in our built environments to communicate that we want God to be welcomed when God comes to be with us? How are we helping to construct the heavenly city, if we want to put it in those terms? And I think that the way we start to think about this in a very practical manner is we start to ask questions. What would our school systems look like if the love of God was the power animating all the relationships that are happening there? I worry about this because I have a daughter who's a school teacher, 4th grade public schools. And the building, the food, the staffing, it doesn't communicate that these children are beloved by God, that their bodies are sites where the love of God is wanting to be at work. They're not being told, they're not being heard to see or feel that they are cherished. We feed them food that is one step above dog food. We don't adequately staff these schools. We don't even provide enough people to work to clean the schools, so teachers are left doing this work. What would our schools look like if we said what's going to animate everything we do here is the love of God for these children, because they are the material embodied sites where the love of God wants to grow? Because think about it, a child has so much potential and is being denied by school systems that tell them they don't matter. And we're not going to put resources to make sure that you're doing well, right? How would our neighborhoods have to change? Would we have better housing for people? Because how can you live well if you don't have clean, safe neighborhoods? Homes in which people can feel alive rather than dead. How would we have to think about our agriculture differently? Right? So much of it now depends upon poisons, upon, right, artificial fertilizers, synthetic fertilizers that depend upon the burning of tremendous amounts of fossil fuel. All of these realities that are doing the land harm, the soil, the plants, the animals, and then think about the agricultural workers who are often required to do agricultural work in contexts that are dangerous, cause them to get sick, even die. So food, which is supposed to be this most delicious expression of the love of God in the world, right? Remember, God creates a world in which creatures exist by eating, which is why God is so angry when there are hungry people in the world. Because the satisfaction of hunger is one of the most primordial, visceral, daily ways that God says, I love you. And yet we're creating agricultural systems that don't communicate love for land, for plants, for animals, for agricultural workers, or for eaters. Because this diet we know is making so many people so ill. Right? If we truly believed that heaven is not about transportation of a soul somewhere else, but instead transformation of this earth here, we would be working for a better agriculture. We would be working for better housing. We would be working for better education. We'd be working for a different kind of healthcare.